Welcome back to Math 103. This is video number 3 on fair distribution. We've presented the method of sealed bids by way of an example, but now let's look at the official statement of the 5 steps of this method. Step 1 is bidding. Each player writes down what each item is worth to him or her in a so-called sealed bid. In other words, concealed from the view of the other players. So we're presuming here that no one knows what the other person is bidding. So it's something like an auction. Each player also computes his or her own minimum fair share amount in the usual way. That means, and this is important, and this is a common source of difficulty, they divide what they think the total value of the goods is by the number of players, not by the number of items. So we're computing minimum fair share amount just in the same way we did in the previous chapter. The second step is the allocation of items. Each individual item goes to the highest bidder for that item. If there are tied highest bids for a certain item, then we flip a coin. We randomly determine who gets that item. In the previous example, Cheatham was the highest bidder for the office, so Cheatham got the office. Next, we carry out the first settlement. That means that for each player, we add up the value to that player of the items which he or she receives. If this value of items received is greater than the player's minimum fair share amount, then the player has to pay back the difference into this common bank account, which is set up just for the purpose of carrying out the fair distribution. Okay? So if you receive more than your minimum fair share in goods, then you have to pay cash into the bank account. If the total value of items received is less than the player's minimum fair share amount, then the player receives the difference in cash from that same common bank account. So the key point is that cash amounts are computed in exactly such a way that each player receives precisely a minimum fair share, no more and no less, at the end of the first settlement. Next, we compute the surplus. In the first settlement, some players were putting money into the bank account, others were receiving money from the bank account. After all that money has been used, after all the deposited money, all the money paid in, has been used to pay those who need to receive cash, there will typically be leftover money. And that's called the surplus. Right, so this is the net amount remaining, which is guaranteed, if you've done the method correctly, it's guaranteed to be either 0 or a positive number. If you come out with a negative surplus, you know you made a mistake. At last, we reach the final settlement. So the surplus money is divided equally among the players, and we finish up by writing down the items each player receives, as well as the net amount of money each player either pays or receives overall. Right, so net amount means adjusted from the first settlement in light of the surplus. Now, since each of the n players has just received 1/nth of the surplus, those players who had to pay cash in the first settlement will now pay less cash in the final settlement. It's even possible that someone who only had to pay a small amount of cash in the first settlement might actually become a net receiver of cash in the end. Those who received cash in the first settlement certainly receive even more cash now. Before going on to the next video, reconsider that same example we did earlier using the method of sealed bids, but now only with Cheatham and Howe as the players. So, apparently Dewey perished in a mysterious lawnmower accident the day before the distribution was supposed to take place. It happens. So Cheatham still values the office at $360,000. Howe still values it at $270,000. So now carry out, from start to finish, the method of sealed bids, separately indicating the first settlement and the final settlement.